Hello everyone and welcome to the PhoneArena flagship phone battery comparison. We have just finished testing the latest iPhone 12 Pro Max and it's time to compare its battery life against the biggest and baddest rivals from Samsung and Google. On the table, fully charged and ready to go, we have first the iPhone 12 Pro Max, then an army of Samsung phones, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, the S20 Ultra, the S20 Plus, and the S20 FE. And finally, we also have the compact Google Pixel 5, which looks a bit out of place among such big phones, but that's the only size phone Google makes this year. You can also see the specs and battery size for each of the phones. It's interesting to notice that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is a physically very big phone, but its battery is not as big as the other phones around here. It is just under 3700 mAh. While even the small Pixel 5 has a larger battery and the S20 Ultra has the biggest battery size in this comparison with a 5000 mAh cell. Okay, with no further ado, let's get this thing going and we start our first test, web browsing. Unplug all of the phones, press the fast forward button so you don't have to wait and watch long hours of testing. And for all of the benchmarks in this comparison, we're not showing you the complete real-time runs for brevity's sake, but instead a simulation run to give you a general idea of how we test. With this in mind, the first phone to die here is, drumroll, the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra with a score of 11 hours and 57 minutes. That's nearly 12 hours and that's a great score, but notice, nonetheless, it's not as good as the other big boys. We're talking about some serious battery life. So fast forward again, and next one to die is the Galaxy S20 Ultra with a score of 12 hours and 23 minutes. That's a very good showing again, but not quite the best. So we keep on going and shortly the Galaxy S20 FE also bites the dust. On the clock we have 12 hours and 28 minutes, again about as good as the S20 Ultra, slightly better. And in just 10 minutes another phone bites the dust. That's the Galaxy S20 Plus with a score of 12 hours and 40 minutes, so the Galaxies really all last about the same time on this test. And just as we speak, the Google Pixel 5 also bites the dust at about the same time. So this leaves one phone still running and we already know that it will be the winner, but let's see how long it will last. So finally, after more than an hour, the iPhone 12 Pro Max also finally bites the dust with a score of 14 hours and 6 minutes. What a great showing for the big iPhone, which excels in this test. Let's recap the scores for a moment. You can pause the video here and look at them in detail, and let us also mention that we have run this test at 60 Hz for all the phones and at the same brightness levels. In this next chart, we will also show you how long those that have a 120 Hz mode last too, so you get an idea about that. Okay, so it's time to switch to our gorgeous red background and get started with our video test. Once again, phones fully charged, YouTube app open, ready, set, go, and start the clock and fast forward time until one of them dies. And that is, again, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra with exactly 7 hours on the clock. The Note has to include an S Pen and that prevents it from having the absolute biggest battery inside. Anyway, let's keep on going, and the next phone to die here is the iPhone 12 Pro Max with 8 hours and 37 minutes on the clock. Now that's a better score, but still not excellent. At about this time, all the other phones start gasping for air too. Just a few moments later, the Google Pixel 5 also bites the dust with a score of 8 hours and 49 minutes. We fast forward a few minutes more, and the next one to die is the Galaxy S20 FE with a score of 9 hours and 9 minutes. At this point, we have only two phones left running, so which one will win it? The S20 Plus or the S20 Ultra? And both of those run for a long time until finally the S20 Plus dies and it finishes the test with a score of 9 hours and 53 minutes. This leaves the S20 Ultra to be the winner of this comparison with a record score. That's a good showing. Let's once again see a recap with all the scores from this second round. Finally, let's go to round number 3, 3D gaming battery life. If you play a lot of games, that's the test you should look into. We start the test, fast forward the action, you already know the drill, and surprisingly, one phone dies much faster than the others. That's the iPhone 12 Pro Max at just 3 hours and 30 minutes into the test. We noticed it got very warm and the battery was just melting. That's interesting and also shocking. We'll talk about this later, but let's keep on going. Fast forward and the next one to die is the Google Pixel 5. Now you just expect this out of the smallest phone here, but definitely we did not expect this out of the big iPhone earlier. Anyway, let's keep on going until the next phone bites the dust, and that is the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. We have already seen the Ultra underperform a bit in other tests, and here it does as well. The remaining 3 phones still have juice left and we have to wait them out quite a bit. Fast forward and wait until finally the S20 Plus gives up at 8 hours and 26 minutes into the test. Now that is a solid battery score. This is a great phone for gaming. But there are even greater ones. The cheap and plastic Galaxy S20 FE is actually battling the flagship S20 Ultra for the win. And the winner is, well, not the S20 FE. It dies first with a score of 8 hours and 29 minutes, leaving the S20 Ultra as the big winner again. So let's leave the test running for a little while, until finally the S20 Ultra also bites the dust with a score of 9 hours and 12 minutes. What a run, but what happened to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and is it really so bad for gaming? Well, we had to investigate and we found that the games that we used for testing caused it to overheat, unlike any other phone that we have tested so far. Oh, except for the other new iPhones, they also do the same thing. And other games don't always do that. So we tried quite a few games for this test, and for example Minecraft was draining the battery a ton, but Call of Duty Mobile ran just fine on these iPhones. So it seems that the problem is not with all games, and you probably should not be too worried unless you play that one specific game. But some games are definitely affected. So let's recap. The iPhone 12 Pro Max won round 1, but underperformed in rounds 2 and 3. The Note 20 Ultra was a bit behind the pack. Surprising considering the size, you would expect an absolutely stellar battery performance. And the Pixel 5 did well in light use, but not so good for videos and 3D gaming. And the S20 Plus, S20 Ultra and the S20 FE had the most balanced performance overall. So there you have it, our flagship battery comparison. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and if you did, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more. And are you using one of these phones? And what is your battery life experience with it? We're looking forward to your thoughts, and let us know what you want to see us test next. Thanks for watching, my name is Vic, this is PhoneArena, and I'll see you in the next one.